Today, we're going to be looking at my 6-month weight loss transformation. Let's jump into the video. Today's video is sponsored by mulliganbrothers.com, where you can now buy the Inspire Change t-shirts, and soon the Not a Journal is going to be coming as well. It helps support all the projects, and I just want to say a massive thank you. I'm shocked by people who are buying it, so thank you so much. You're helping us inspire change, and you're inspiring change all around the world, so thank you. So the reason I'm making this video today is because currently myself and Yusuf are shooting another 3-month weight loss transformation. So we're in the process of it, we're halfway through, and I've hit my target weight, and I'm really happy about that. But what I wanted to do is take you through a journey that I did, which was my first ever proper weight loss transformation, which took over 6 months. And I had all the footage, I had the photos, the progress photos, and I never made a video of it, and that is what I'm gonna be sharing today. Go follow me on Instagram, @JordanMulliganBrother. We're almost at 2K followers. I wanted to get to 10, so please help me out. So my whole life I've kind of struggled with weight. I've always been bigger. From a kid, I've always been bigger. I've always been bigger than my brothers. I was teased for it a little bit, nothing major, but I was always teased for it. And I created a really bad body dysmorphia. I'd look in the mirror and I'd see a really, really fat guy. And I used to play basketball to a really high level, and I was in really good shape looking back at the photos. But I remember I would always look in the mirror and feel that I looked ugly. And then as I got older, life happened, and real bad stuff happened. My son passed away. I had failing businesses. I was stuck in dead-end jobs. Had huge amounts of debt. I was in a really shit situation, and the one thing that made me feel good was eating. And I developed a bit of an eating disorder where I would binge eat. And the thing is with binge eating is you binge eat and you start to feel bad because you've ate so much. And then the thing that makes you feel better is binge eating again. So I was in this constant cycle of doing this, and I was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. There are a few marker points that made a change for me. One was the birth of Jude. When Jude was born, I realized that I need to be healthy. I'm gonna die. I was 360 pounds before Jude was born. It was like, at one point I'm gonna die. Like, it's gonna be really bad. When Jacob died, just before Jacob died, I broke my ankle. And that led to me not getting into as much fitness as I used to be. I didn't play basketball anymore. I started to go into powerlifting, and I thought I can put on as much weight as I want. One of the biggest ones, it was such a silly one, and it worked for me. It was a few months after Jacob had died, and I went to the fair, and I saw my friend's mum. I hadn't seen her for years, and she didn't recognize me. And I saw my friend, and he did recognize me, and he said, "Mum, it's Jordan." And she took one look at me and went, "Oh my God, Jordan, you're massive. How did that happen?" And it really hurt. And I remember thinking I'm gonna lose the weight. It took about 2 years to get to the point where I actually started to tackle it. And that was after Jude was born. Life happened, guys. Life happens. I mean, you know, if you're struggling to lose weight, that's probably where you're at. Possibly, you have a bad relationship with food. It makes you feel better. But I remember thinking, how bad I feel when I look in the mirror is not worth the moment that I feel good when I'm eating ice cream. This was the biggest realization that I had. I had to look in the mirror and not hate myself. So it was very difficult. I had to look in the mirror and go, actually, I'm okay with what I look like right now, but I'm gonna get in better shape. And that was the big mind switch for me. I started to respect myself. I would stop the self-loathing, and that allowed me to be able to lose the weight. So it was just before December, it was around November, I decided to take this mission on and lose some weight. And the reason that I started in the Christmas period, the festive period when we all eat the most, is because I didn't think it wasn't enough conviction to start in January like everyone else does. It didn't mean I wanted it enough if I was gonna wait till January. And it would have led to unhealthy. I probably never would have actually started. I would have ate loads of food through Christmas, put loads of weight on because I'm starting in January, and then when January came, I'd hate myself again, and I'd carry on putting a weight on after a week of trying to lose weight. So I started at the end of November. By the time I got to January, I'd already lost loads of weight. I was super happy. So that's when I first took my first picture on the MyFitness app, and this is where we'll start the journey. And the motivation was, I knew what my potential was. Even with all the stretch marks and the damage that I'd caused, I knew that if I could get in shape, back to where I was, peak fitness, that I would be extremely happy with myself. And because I started loving myself, that is how I started the journey. Okay, so I'll get this one out of the way. First of all, it had no effect on the weight loss. I am vegan or plant-based. Had no effect. I didn't do that to help me lose weight. I could have done this on a meat diet, a chicken diet, a vegetarian diet, omnivore, I don't know, what, carnivore, whatever you want to be. I was vegan at the time. It didn't add to it. So we'll just move that aside. What I did was found out where my calories were that I would maintain weight at. I did this back in November, and I would decrease it by 100 calories. If I lost weight that week, then I would stay there until I stopped losing weight. And then if I stopped losing weight, I'd bring it down 100 extra calories. I weighed myself every single day, and I tracked my food every single day. So it sounds obsessive, but it's really, for me, a necessity. So I track every single meal. Everything that goes into my mouth, I would track. And I think it was around 3,200 calories that I started at, and the end of the cut, I had finished at around 2,800. So I didn't actually have to reduce the calories that much to get down. So that is the diet of it. Find where you lose weight on the calorie scale, on your daily calories, and just come in a little bit underneath that. Don't go ridiculous, just a little bit underneath that, and have a realistic goal. I had 6 months. That's what I'd given myself, 6 months. And try and eat healthy. So if it fits your macros, that just helps you get the right amount of protein, the right amount of carbohydrates, the right amount of fats. I didn't really do that. All I knew is that I wanted to hit around 200 grams of protein to make sure that I could build muscle and maintain muscle. But everything else was based on what did I want to eat that day. And it's funny enough, I started to turn towards more healthy food, because as you're coming in a calorie deficit, you want to feel like you're satiated. So you want to get lots of salad and greens in because it makes your belly full. So fitness wise, again, nothing special. I had a program that I wrote for myself for the first 5 months. The last month I had a personal trainer, which was my brother Daniel, who helped come in and write me a program. And that was just to get that finished, diced in look. Again, nothing special. I went onto Google and I did, I think it was a 4-day split bodybuilding program, and it was off bodybuilding.com. It was an upper lower program. All I have is a barbell and some weights in the gym and a squat rack. I had no special equipment. I didn't go to any gyms. It was all done in the back of the studio with, like I say, a dusty barbell, some weights up to about, I think it was 160, 170 kilos, a bench and a flimsy squat rack. So again, nothing special. Didn't ramp my cardio up, didn't do anything special at all. Just stuck to a program. Much more of the same with the diet, lots and lots of consistency. And it never got difficult. It's just can become a little bit boring when you are so consistent. What you'll notice in the photos that I took of the progress is at the start, I didn't take that many photos. I was less willing to take photos because I was bigger. I still wasn't near where I wanted to be. But then I would see a little ab line, like the tiniest faded ab line, or maybe my jaw looked a little bit more cut. Or I could see my chest, or the fat from my chest had gone down enough to where it looks like I actually had pecs. And there was those tiny little things I was like, I'm getting closer and closer to my goal. The constant weigh-in every single day worked for me, because when I jump on a scale, I'm very aware that it fluctuates. So over a week, as long as I can maintain it over a week, that it might fluctuate over a week, but by the end of the week, did I trend down? It will motivate you, and it motivated me. But you really have to be able to accept that some days it might be up by a pound or two just through water retention or whatever it is. The consistency past the halfway point got so much easier because you've done it for 3 months. I pretty much had the same day each day, which sounds boring again, but I'd rather be in shape. So I'd wake up, boom, the porridge would come down. I wouldn't even check, I'd know exactly what it was. 1 cup of oats, boom, in there, 2 portions of milk or whatever it was. And then I'd go to work, I'd have a protein shake, I'd have some sausages or whatever it was. And when I looked in the mirror, the reward for having that kind of boring-ish start to the day was that I was starting to come down and the weight loss was starting to come down. And I tell you this much, this was the biggest one. So the results is what motivated me. If you've been big for a long time and you get the weight down closer to where your target weight would be, like your BMI would suggest you to be. I was still in the high end of my BMI, but as I was getting closer, I had more energy. I could run up and down the stairs to grab stuff. I'd happily, if someone wanted something from the shops or from the kitchen, I'd jump up and go get it because I had this like abundance of energy because I was using less calories to move around. I wasn't 360 pounds anymore. I was 260 pounds. Like having 100 pounds off your body helps a lot. So yeah, just feeling better and seeing the results just kept me going. But you've got to get past that halfway point. That's one of the biggest things. You've got to stick with it. The start is the hardest. The end, it's like home stretch, downhill all the way. So, how long did it last for? I'd say about 2 weeks out, or maybe 2 weeks to a week out from hitting my target weight. I was happy, extremely happy with my body composition. I looked in the mirror, I was more than happy. I was more than happy to walk around the house with my top off. I'd never do that normally. I'd walk around the house, top off. I'd go to the beach with my shirt off. I'd play basketball or work out with my shirt off. These are things that I would never do. So I knew that 2 weeks out from my target weight, I was happy. I was around 240, 235 pounds. I was more than happy. But I wanted to get the leanest I possibly could. So that's when Daniel came in and I started to manipulate my water intake and my carbohydrate intake on those I'd say it was the last week and a half. I do not recommend this. This was just to get a photo shoot before and after, which we'll put up the before and afters. This is off my Instagram, and I wouldn't recommend it, but what happens is you restrict your carbohydrate intake, you restrict your water intake, you get dehydrated, and you just look a little bit leaner. I think I look worse for it, because on the app I look a lot skinnier, but then when you go to my before and after photos that I did under some better lighting, I look a lot bigger and leaner. So it did work for the photos. But then, from that point, I was flying out to Spain to go on my holiday. Kind of like my end goal, the prep that I'd worked towards was to go on this holiday. When I got on holiday, what do you think I had done after 6 months of being really strict with eating and then 2 weeks of basically dehydrating myself and restricting all carbohydrates? I ate a shit ton of carbohydrates, and although I came back from the holiday looking lean, what happened is I'd lost control of myself. I'd lost control of my diet. I'd spent 2 weeks letting go and being relaxed. I was no longer tracking. I was just eating whatever I wanted. And funnily enough, when I got home, the self-loathing came back. And I look at the photos that I took when I came back, when I thought I was fat, and I'm really in shape again. I was in shape when I came back. I looked great. But because I'd lost that respect for myself, because the self-loathing came back, the weight just came back on. I decided to go into a bulking phase to make myself feel a little bit better, and I went into powerlifting. I hit some really good numbers again, but that is where it ended, unfortunately. And it was a very frustrating and sad, because at the point where I felt like I was fat again and the self-loathing happened and I was annoyed at myself, if I go onto Myfitness and look at those pictures of myself, I was in really good shape. I was 240, 245, and I looked great. And I could have stayed there and I would have been happy. But, the mental health side of it, I didn't have it straight. And that's the most important thing. If you can keep the mind healthy and your relationship with your food and how you work towards goals, then you'll be okay. So the biggest thing is, if you're setting a fitness goal and something that you want to achieve, really the factor, if you've been struggling for a long time, should be an internal motivation. You should be doing it for yourself, not for somebody else. You shouldn't be doing it for that girl that you want to impress, or because somebody said like for me, somebody said I looked fat. You should be doing it for yourself because being in shape makes you feel good. Being healthy and being able to run around and move around for your kids, or go play football with your friends, feels good. Why am I making this video now, guys? Because me and Yusuf are on the journey right now. He's filming me, he's following me on this new weight loss journey, and I just wanted to recap a process that I've been through and some lessons that I'd learned. Follow me on Instagram if you want to see how I do my workouts. I've got Coach Dan Hipkiss coaching me right now, making workouts extremely fun and enjoyable. And if you want to support projects like this, like the documentary of the Strongman brothers, like the Ollie Olafson video, the Mark Ormrod video, we're flying out to Shiheng Yi. Please go to mulliganbrothers.com and consider buying one of the Inspire Change t-shirts. Keep an eye out for the journals that are going to be coming soon before Christmas. We've also got some Less Go t-shirts coming, Hardest Worker in the Room t-shirts coming, all ready to drop onto the store very, very soon. So thank you for your support. I'll see you in the next one. Go inspire some change. As always, have a blessed and productive day. Peace.